Well, isn't this absurd? Isn't it outrageous? And even worse, it's very unwise because by sealing these papers for so long, it invites the suspicion that there's something really terrible in these papers. Let's remind ourselves that for 10 years, Prince Andrew, who was then the late Queen's second son, was acting as a trade envoy on our behalf, working for the Department of Trade and Industry, going around the world to boost British business and British industry and British commerce. Now, what could be possibly controversial about that, that it has to be sealed in such a dreadful way? Because it is dreadful, because Andrew Lownie is a perfectly respectable and well-known historian and writer. And he's applied for these papers because he's writing a biography of Prince Andrew. And I think we're seeing him there at one of these, not there, of course, that's the Garter ceremony, but there dealing with people talking about trade and so on. Now,
but Michael, I know you say, it invites suspicion and what could be controversial about Andrew being a trade envoy. Believe me, there's a documentary on Sky Documentaries about King Juan Carlos I in Spain, who went on a number of trade envoy missions. Just watch it, my friend. Just watch it. It will absolutely make your hair curl.
Well, I think his problem was that he went and shot an elephant and he took his girlfriend with him, and that caused an awful lot of trouble in Madrid. But the thing is, I did the very first interview with Prince Andrew that he ever did on the day he got engaged to Sarah Ferguson. And at that time, I liked them both. I enjoyed his company. They were a breath of fresh air. I went on all their first foreign trips. Over the years, though, circumstances have changed him. And there were many reports that he was overbearing and rude on these journeys and representing this country on trips that we paid for, the taxpayer. And that is very unfortunate. And it could be that some of the ambassadors sent reports back to the Foreign Commonwealth Office, and they noted this, as they would be obliged to do. And that would be a grave embarrassment to him. I think it's a great shame. It's a big mistake. We're quite used to royal wills being sealed. We never ever see them. But I mean, these secrets, whatever they are being suppressed far more rigorously than some of the remaining secrets from the Second World War, things which we're not allowed to know about. We're not, this must be a more grown-up country. We have to know what's been done on our behalf that we've paid for.
It's interesting, Andrew Lownie, he wrote a biography, I think, about Mountbatten as well. He says he's a monarchist. He's not anti the royal family. And what I hadn't realised, he submitted these freedom of information requests, is actually that the royals aren't subject to them, even though we fund them. And he says there are legitimate questions about, for example, Prince Andrew's security, who pays for his security detail now that he's not a working royal. We have a right to know that. Do you agree?
Terrific. Yeah, exactly right. Now, there's the Lownie book, the Mountbatten book. He had a huge struggle, titanic struggle, unsuccessful struggle to get to the Mountbatten papers, which are all held in Southampton University. And he was refused. It is not right. These are matters of historical importance. And don't forget that, Mountbatten was a very controversial figure. He was very handsome. He had great charisma. He had great charm. Now, those attributes are very, very dangerous in the wrong person. And when he was running special operations during World War II, he was known as the master of disaster. And I can tell you that in Canada, Mountbatten is not a hero at all, because he sent many young Canadian men to their deaths in the ill-fated raid on Dieppe in 1942. So he was a controversial character, and Andrew Lownie is quite entitled, as he is with Prince Andrew, to look into that, because this is our history. These are people who are held up for our respect, and usually they deserve it, but when they don't, it must be acknowledged.
Another book from you, that's what we need.